Okay, in our last video we saw how we could animate the camera by the camera position and some lens changes. Now we're going to see how we can also do some simple animations with our other layers, with our monsters or our background. So I'm on frame 1 here. On my time head, I'm going to slide it over, and just to see, as I'm sliding, looking at my camera animation, I'm checking the edges to see if anything needs to be adjusted. You can see right here there's some issues with this foreground and issues with Dracula's the bottom part of his body, so I have to make those larger as this progresses. I also see the background isn't quite covering here, so I'm gonna have to do some adjustments on that one also. So let's go back here. I'm gonna do the background area first. It looks like the background starts to lose coverage, so I'm gonna scroll down here, my background layer. I'm gonna open the transformation. And I'm on frame 1. I'm gonna activate all those animations. I may not use them, but I'm gonna activate them just in case. I'm gonna scroll all the way here till if it starts to lose coverage in that background. I see it does right up here in the corner. So I can make that a little bit bigger here. So now that should be good. Till about there. Animate a little bit more. And finally at the end I need to make it even bigger. There we go. So we got some pretty cool changes there with that background. I could have just done one general size change or scale change, but I like how it sort of moves around right there. Pretty psychological effect of these creepy monsters. All right. Next, my foreground. I'm just going to do one solid change for that one. On foreground layer, that guy needs to expand quite a bit throughout this process. Start to grab the corner, make the foreground larger, and hold the shift key down, maintain proportion. Reposition it. There we go. Good. And then the next one I'm going to do is Dracula. So I'm going back to my first frame, come over here to my last frame. Animate his size too. Now, if I didn't do such a drastic camera change, zooming in and everything and repositioning, then I would not have to do such a drastic change to all my characters. I'm going to activate these anchor points. Moving to my last frame. And I think I'm going to... Oops. Rotate them this way a little bit. And then shift the scale. And I can check it. Yeah, make sure he doesn't lose the edge there. Good. Next I'm going to do the werewolf. Back to frame 1. See if I lose him. Yeah, I start to lose him a little bit here. So I'm going to activate all of those. And I'm going to come over here to my final frame. And I can see that I need to move him down a little bit and rotate him. Maybe I'll rotate him. little bit bigger. I think that pretty much covers it. Well, what if I wanted it to feel like he's moving away from the camera? Also, he's running away from the camera or something. I can also move him out here, push him back in space like he's moving away from the camera, or I can bring him closer, like he's coming towards the camera. I think I'm going to move him back a little bit. And lower him a little bit. That way he's sort of moving out of sight there. There we go. So the camera's moving, and the werewolf's moving back out into the space also, receding into space. I'll move him down a little bit more. That space, good. And the mummy looks alright. I think he just needs to rotate a little bit just to get that edge off the screen. I'm going to position him down this way a little bit too, so he moves. Oops. Let me undo both of those. I forgot to animate it on the first frame, so I'm going back to my first frame here. Activating those animations. Coming back to the last frame. Do some rotations and move them down a little bit. Here we go. So now all those characters are animating slightly throughout this scene. I could make it more drastic, but I think it's pretty good the way they're moving there. And I can go back to Dracula. One more character animation I can do is his opacity on frame 1. I'm going to make him down to 0%. I want him to, by maybe my second, I want them to be up to 100%. So I click, go to the second mark here, and bring that opacity up to 100%. Now another thing I can do with all these animations, I can select any of these keyframes, or click and drag and select several of them, click on one of them, right click on one of them, keyframe assistant, ease in or out, or ease. We'll make them ease in and out. So that way it makes it feel like more of a natural motion. I can do that with anything. I could go back to my camera, to all those animations I did, highlight them, right click and do my ease. And same at the end here. Keyframe assistant. There we are. So now there'll be more of a natural animation to all these. Let me do that to my background too. Put quite a few animations on that background. I can highlight the keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, and some of these other ones in between here. Good. I think the last thing I'm going to animate is some of the smoke or the fog back here. So let me go to my left fog, frame 1, activate all those animations, even if I don't use them. Go to my final frame. I can change everything out here, the scale and all that, or I can also change it out here. Scale, position. I can bring it further away in space. And I can rotate it. Rotate it in these other directions, forward, backwards. Rotate this way. Change the scale, which I already did a little bit. And there we go. So now that smoke has some animation going through it. Going through the scene. Coming closer. Going further away. Going back to frame 1, I'm going to do the same for the other smoke. My basic transformations. And going to the end. Doing some of those changes for this one also. just to add to some of the drama. I'm going to push it back into space, slide it over, do some rotations on it if I want. Some of these other types of rotations. Put a lot of motion with that guy. There we go. So as I scroll through here, I see a lot of motion going on. Fading of Dracula, fog rolling in, background fading out or moving out, all those rotations. Pretty dramatic animation. And next time we'll see how we can do some